Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. If you missed any, want to know more about those coupon code availability, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab and the Season 10 tab for past shows and all sponsors listings. We're going to talk about how and what you need to know if you want to get into canning this year. We make the mistake so you don't have to.
Yeah, so you want to keep in mind to be safe with your canning, and this is very important. Canning is a science. You are taking a perishable food and making it non-perishable, which means you're taking something that can rot and spoil and making it shelf stable. So keep that in mind as you do your canning. You want to look for resources, etc., so that you know that they are safe, you know that they are good recipes, and they have your best safety and interest in mind. So if you go to look at books, recipes, you want to make sure they're from within the past 15 years. This shouldn't be an issue for most like websites, unless it's called like vintage canning recipes or something like that. But for books, like the library is a great resource for a lot of books, but they don't toss the books after 15 years.
They keep them until they fall apart,
yeah.
regardless if the information is correct or not.
Like I recently got into knitting, and I found a book from like the 80s. So, they're not tossing these books, which is good. I mean, some of the stuff doesn't change.
Well, if you want to collect vintage canning books, there's plenty of second place or second-hand places online in order to purchase them, and you can build a little collection. But don't use them.
So the reason why we want to look within the past 15 years is because crops have changed, food has changed, food science has changed, safety has changed. Like, for example, Joey grew up canning, and they would water bath their green beans, and now that's no longer...
You got to pressure can them.
You want to pressure can them.
Yeah, we'd water bath them for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's quite some time. Yeah. So you want to keep that in mind, learn that, just keep in mind it's a science, etc. So then you want to start with something simple. A lot of times people think, I'm just going to make jam. That's going to be simple, and that's not necessarily true. Not that jam is super hard. It's just that at times it doesn't set up. You kind of have to learn the process. There's a lot
with jam compared to, like, I would say pickles. There's like twice as many moving parts in the jam process than there is the pickle making process.
Right. And it's a matter of... or even just salsa, something kind of less moving parts, as Joey had said. And also, those are pretty foolproof, and you don't have to worry about them setting up. Well,
and if you want to get into canning, your church group or whatever organization you're with, male or female, it doesn't matter. There's somebody that knows somebody that would love to have some help in the kitchen, cutting, processing, getting jars in, so you can learn firsthand how to go about doing this rather than simply watching a video online from a reputable source. Your hands are in the pickles, your hands are in the salsa. The individual is saying, okay, this is what we've got to do in order to do it safe. This is how you're seeing it firsthand.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So you want to also, Joy had mentioned, talking to people. You can do that and look for jars that way as well. And you might think to yourself, I don't know anybody who has any canning jars, but I swear these people come out of the woodwork. As soon as you start talking about canning, all of a sudden they have jars. They have this and that. And all these
Betty, I heard you brought some jam in. My aunt passed away. We got like 50 or 80 jars in the garage. We really didn't want to get rid of them. Do you want them?
Right, and that's exactly what happens. So keep that in mind. You can find these jars, or you can look at rummage sales, yard sales, etc.
You're going to get a better deal if you buy everything, the whole allotment.
Right, and you may end up with some random jars, and that's okay.
But otherwise, you're going to buy the jar for $0.25 a piece. I'm picking a number. But if you buy all of them together and you figure out, and when you get home, you figure, I bought them all for like 8 cents a jar.
Right.
And you can toss the ones that don't work or put dry goods in the other ones.
Exactly. So then you also want to, as you're doing this process, make sure you keep everything clean. If you have a pet, like a cat, who could possibly jump on the counter or the table, you want to make sure that you are keeping them out of the kitchen. I know my cat, he typically doesn't jump on the counter or the table, but I feel like as soon as I start a project in the kitchen, he's like, "What's going on?"
Or if you have little ones that that can get underfoot and trip you when you're moving very hot items or breakable things, that's something that needs to be addressed as well.
Right. A lot of people don't think about these things. And when you're doing like pickles or canning anything, you kind of want to move quickly, especially pickles, because those cucumbers, if you let them sit or cook at too high of a temperature for too long, the longer you do, the mushier they can get. So while pickles are easy to can, you just want to make sure you're not dilly-dallying around while you're doing the process.
Most people will, typically you see or you think of pickles being in quart jars, but if you can get away with putting them in pint jars, yes, it's half the batch, half the quantity, but the quality of them does increase substantially because it's less time in the heat, and you can get more of a like a store-bought crisp pickle at home if you move quickly and keep that from getting too hot. But doing it for the direction of time, and don't do in half-gallon jars. We don't do that anymore. It's not safe.
No.
National Home for Food Preservation.
Yeah.
That apple juice and I think grape juice are the only two safe things in which you can preserve in a half-gallon jar. Use them for dry goods.
So some of my favorite resources, as Joey had mentioned, was the National Center for Home Food Preservation. They have a lot of great basics, like say you have 45 pounds of tomatoes and you want to know how much it's going to make into X, they can help you with that. On the National Center for Home Food Preservation, we learned how to can venison with their site. So,
yeah, that's a pressure canning process.
Right, yeah.
Not all vegetables and stuff that comes out of your garden you're going to water bath.
Right. So you want to make sure you are using good resources. And then Better Homes and Gardens, they have a good book called You Can, and it's pretty comprehensive, has some good recipes. The Ball Blue Book is what it's called, put out by Ball Canning. They put out a new edition every couple of years. They have good information on even just how to can.
And you would think, I got one 2 years ago. There are new recipes and new variations of recipes every book. It's not just a copy of, we're just going to put it out to put it out.
And, you might think, okay, I got the new edition. I know somebody who could benefit from the old edition. You can pass it along. You don't necessarily have to hold on to it.
If there's anything left of that old edition, if you haven't loved it so much that the pages are falling out of it like some of ours are.
Right. And then you can look for classes. I did take some canning classes through my local rec department. This may not be an option for you, but you can definitely keep an eye out for it. I know I have a friend who teaches like kombucha making classes, which is not canning, but you can find a lot of resources when you look around.
Now, with those classes, those are taught by master canners, which are much more regulated in states than master gardeners due to the information and the safetiness of that information that is being taught to individuals.
Absolutely. And I took a lot of canning classes. I even learned how to make mustard, which is really easy to make. Making mustard, I think it seems more complicated than it is, but it's very simple to make, and you make a lot of different varieties of mustard, and it's kind of fun.
So when it comes to canning, lids, jars, you want to make sure there's no cracks in the jars. You want to use modern day jars, not the antique blue ones that were made from 1896 to 1932. A jar, and make sure it is a canning jar. You get these mixtures of glass jars.
Yeah, you got to make sure it's a real mason jar.
Yeah. And you can tell by the thickness of an old mayonnaise jar from the 80s versus a canning jar.
Right. And, you want to make sure you have, I bought this new, but it was like a canning kit, which comes with the funnel, the headspace measurer, the jar lifter, and the little thing that can lift the lids. It's a little magnet wand type situation. Sometimes you can find those at yard sales, thrift stores, whatever. If
you go to a yard sale, go ahead and have 2 or 3 or 4 of them. It's not because you're going to lose one. And if you have 2 or 3, and another thing with your canning, you want like lots of towels. You want what do you call them? Dish towels. and
Right.
rags and extra spatulas and extra spoons and things. So whenever you're in this process, you don't have to, you have a backup. You're ready to grab a different one. It's clean. It's sanitary. Because the time, it's not I'll get it done when I get it. It's a time sensitive situation.
Right. And one thing to keep in mind is that, or for me, I know myself, like I enjoy being in the kitchen, whether it be cooking, baking. I don't bake as much as I used to. So canning, even though I didn't grow up doing it, became a kind of a natural extension of what I enjoyed doing when it came to being in the kitchen.
And you were not a canner. You did not grow up in a world of canning.
No,
You're a city girl.
Yeah, I grew up in the city, and when Joy and I met, and probably about 15 years ago now, even though we had both gardened separately, we grew our first like big garden together, and we had a lot of tomatoes, cucumbers, I think peppers, onions, just a lot of stuff. And Joy was like, "We're gonna can this," and I was like, "Okay, you have fun with that." And he was like, "No, you're gonna help me." So, we kind of, I don't want to say we learned together because Joy had some canning experience.
Growing up on the farm, that's all we did. Yeah.
Right. But I learned, and then I got really into it, and I really did enjoy it. I thought, in my words, I thought that was for country people.
Man, you are a multi-award winning Wisconsin State canner. That's where the show originates, out of Southeast Wisconsin, and you've placed several ribbons in the state fair.
Yes.
So when it comes to canning, it's called, you want cleanliness and safety, but also you want to keep keep the dirt outside, and we have a product just for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Scrusher at scrusher.com has this really nice boot and shoe cleaner. It's the original multi-use, long-lasting boot scrubber. So it's a shoe brush station that is built with weather-resistant steel frame and black UV powder coated finish for year-round outdoor use. Easy to use. You just take your boots or your shoe or whatever you have on your foot, and with just a few passes through the boot brushes, removes dirt, mud, and slush from any type of shoe. It's user-friendly. You can use it all over barns, sheds, your home, etc. And you can go to scrusher.com and use code NOMOREDIRT5 to get 5% off and free shipping.